Greetings, it's Ian from RTO here. Welcome to Friday. It has been a roller coaster week. Online parties, real parties, cocktail mixing. I've done it all this week. So it's the last Friday of the year, and as usual we do on the channel, we do a full album review of the year. Been some really good albums out this year. There's been some albums that I'm not going to mention. They were good, but they just didn't make the cut. I've got my top 20 plus some ones that just missed out, but I wanted to give a mention to. So we'll get cracking. So number 20 for me this year was an album that came out in June. And it was the Foo Fighters. It was their 11th album, but We Are Here. It's the first album they've done since the passing of Taylor Hawkins. I thought this was a really good comeback album. They had lots of songs that reflected Taylor. I mean, Rescued was a good song. Under You was another good song. The title track, But We Are Here, was good. But my favourite album, and it still is, it's that big epic, The Teacher, 10 minutes. Really, really good. I'll tell you what I said at the time. I said this was a difficult album for them to do after Taylor's sad death. Probably lots of emotion. I thought it was really good then, and I think the more I listen to it, the more I think, God, this is probably one of their best albums, even though it's not Taylor on it, sorry. But yeah, I had to put it in my top 20. Okay, number 19 from April, the 11th album from Metallica, 72 Seasons. I thought this was a really strong album. Their best one for a little while. I mean, the opening track on its own, 72 Seasons, is absolutely really strong. Screaming Suicide is another good thing. Very dark matter on this, but really gutsy playing on here. And then you've got Lux Eterna. That is just brilliant. It's becoming one of them quite iconic songs. As I said, there's some really good tracks on here. The longer tracks, I still have the same feeling. They're too long. There are bands out there that can do long songs better than Metallica. Keep to your short, sharp, thumpy tracks, and you won't go too far wrong. Okay then, number 18 this year, another album that came out in April. And it's the 23rd album from Jethro Tull, Rock Float. Certainly better than Zealot Gene, and it still is. It's a good album, but it's not one of the. It got into my top 20, but I enjoy listening to it, but it's certainly not. It's not one of their best albums. I mean, Wolf Unchained's really good on it. Perfect One's a nice little folky one. But it's Ian's voice. It's obviously, as I said at the time, it's changed. But it's certainly better than the Zealot Gene. Okay, number 17. This came out in May from Canadian progressive rock band Mystery and Redemption. Oh, I thought this was an outstanding album. The amazing opening track, Behind the Mirror. Ooh, one of the great prog tracks of the year. The title track was very good. Other bits from it, Pearls and Fire, fantastic track. Really strong album. I said definitely be in my top. I said back when I reviewed it, be in my top 20. It is. It has to be. Okay, number 16 this year. 8th album from the American rock band Queens of the Stone Age, In Times New Roman. great tracks on here. Paper Mache, Negative Space, Time and Place, cracking songs, Straight Jacket Fitting, the longest track, best track, ripping solos. Certainly better than their previous album. And there was one or two tracks on here I wasn't too impressed with at the time. The Carnavoya. It has grown on me, I must admit. What the people say, I like it a little bit better than I did, but it's still one that I don't think I'm going to really get into. Okay then, number 15. Now I went and listened to this after watching Richard McCook's album review of this. This came out in June, and it's Yusuf Cat Stevens, King of the Land. I was so impressed with this album. From top to bottom, very good tracks. Train on a Hill, it's one of my favourite tracks on this album. King of the Land, lovely folk song. Pagan Run's good. Son of Mary, gentle folk song. How Good It Feels, very, very good. I think this is a wonderful song, and I've been playing this a lot. It's certainly an early morning album, and thanks to Richard, I really do love this album. Okay, here's a bit of a shock one. At number 14, it came out in June, and it's the new album from the blues rock band Government Mule, Peace Like a River. Thought this was a terrific album. If you love your blues, this is great. It's got the great Shake Our Way Out featuring the legendary Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. Really good track. Made My Peace, I love that as well. This is just a good old-fashioned blues album. You know, that's certainly their best album for, as I said, for a little while, and I still love listening to this album. Okay, number 13. This only came out last month, and it's the new album from Gong, Unending Ascending. This album's still being played even now. I can't get enough of this album. As I said, the first track, Tiny Galaxies, it could have appeared in 1968. It's just absolutely brilliant track. I think there's one song. There was Choose Your God Goodness is a brilliant track. There wasn't a bad track on this. I really love this album, and I hope we get more from this band. I'd love to see a live album from them from this tour, because I think these tracks will be really good live. Okay, number 12 for me this year came out on 7th August, and it's part one of an album that's coming out next year. It's from the brilliant Neil Morse and the Dreamer Joseph, all about Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Wonderful this is. It's telling the story of Joseph. I can't get enough of this album. I've been playing it so much. It's got some brilliant tracks on, but Like a Wall is the absolute killer on this. Got Slave Boy on here. I am so looking forward to part 2 of this album coming out sometime in 2024. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, number 11, an album released in the summer. It was Greta Van Fleet's Starcatcher. Well, what an album, what a voice from Josh. Absolutely brilliant. Some great tracks on here. For one of the newer bands, they are one of the best in the business. Fate of the Faithful is absolutely brilliant. The Falling Sky, awesome track. My favourite, Frozen Light. It's just, it could have been recorded in the 70s. It's got wonderful textures on it. The Archer, very atmospheric. What a good album. What a good album. Okay, the top 10 albums of 2023 for me. And starting out the top 10, we have the 4th album from Noel Gallagher's Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds and Council Skies. One of the surprise albums for me this year. Outstanding album this is. It's probably the best thing they've ever done by a long chance. Easy Now, the best track on here. Great guitar solo. Council Skies, the top is a... It was one of them tracks I weren't too keen on, but the more I listen to it, it's a bit poppy and it's got such a catchy tune. Fantastic stuff. So, okay, number 9. Now, this only come out a couple of weeks ago. And it's the new album from Peter Gabriel. Oh, can I not get enough of this? There was a couple of tracks I wasn't so keen on a couple of weeks ago. One being that long track, and still. Yeah, I still think it should be shorter. But this home has really grown on me. I've been listening to it a lot. It was worth the wait. It's a fine album. It's an absolutely stunning album. Okay, number 8. Another band that hadn't released an album in 15 years. Came out in June. And it's 6 by Extreme, one of my favourite American bands. What a comeback album this is. The first track, Rise, Nuno's just on fire again. Them great riffs, Gary's vocals are still strong. Rebel, you've got one of Pat's great bass lines. Other Side of the Rainbow is a brilliant song. They're just all solid songs. An album that I've enjoyed playing through the year. I rank that highly up with the other great albums now. Certainly their best album since Three Sides to Every Story. Okay, number 7. This came out there. I didn't put the date. It's their third album from Winery Dogs, which is that super group featuring Richie Colson, Billy Sheehan and Mike Portnoy. Of course, has just rejoined Dream Theater. A great album, 3 brilliant musicians. Xanadu. Mike's drumming is brilliant. That is a fantastic track. Breakthrough, brilliant. Rise, Pharaoh, one of my favourites. Lorelei, interesting vocal from Richie on that. That's a very melodic track. We will be ranking the Winery Dogs in 2024, but it's just a super album. Okay, number 6. Another band that hadn't made an album for a long time. This is only 6 years. Came out on St Patrick's Day. County Down's very own The Answer and the Sundowners. Love this band. From track 1 all the way through to track 11, it is just pure rock all the way. They had that disappointing album in 2016, Solace. They come back with a strong album. Living on the Lie is a great track. And then All Rise Right, that slower song. Fantastic. Great album. Another album that I just love listening to. Number 5. This came out in September. The long-awaited album from Steve Wilson, The Harmony Codex. Another album that is just powerful. Some fantastic songs on here all the way. Inclination is brilliant. No, Impossible, Tightrope, great epic violins, dramatic sounds. Rock Bottom's a great track, and he's got the young lady in it, Taheb, singing on it. Wonderful album. Still gets a lot of playing. Great under the headphones. Just a wonderful album. Okay, number 4 for me came out on the 25th of August from the brilliant Alice Cooper and his brand new album Road, featuring Nita Strauss, of course. This album was just classic. Alice Cooper, I'm Alice. Wonderful stuff here. Welcome to the show. The showmanship's there. White Line Frankenstein. Oh, love that track. One of my favourite tracks now. And Big Boots goes back to them old days. Absolutely killer album all the way through. Number 3, another band long awaited, the brilliant Sparks and The Girl Is Crying in a Latte. The May Brothers, you got to consider Ron 77, Russell 74, and they're still producing great music. The Girl Is Crying in a Latte, that wonderful video with Kate Blanchett in it, their performance of that at Glastonbury was legendary. Veronica Lake, what a track, catchy, quirky. Nothing is good as it says, probably the best track on the album. Wonderful stuff. Escalator, catchy, quirky. The Mona Lisa's packing late, leaving late tonight. Another quirky Sparks track. A fantastic album. So we're down to the top 2 now. This was a tough one. 2 great bands. There's not much between them. I would say that much. So number 2 for me was another album from a band that hadn't made anything. Oh, Hackney Diamonds, Rolling Stones, the first album without Charlie. But there is one track on here that has got the lineup of Bill, Charlie, Mick, Ronnie and Keith, and it's brilliant. It was something. Angry is just a clever track. The video to it's good. And Bite Off My Head with Paul McCartney on the bass, brilliant track. Live by the Sword is that track that's got all them great guys on it, absolutely brilliant. That was my favourite track at the time, Live by the Sword, but I'm afraid my favourite track on here now is, of course, the one with Lady Gaga, The Sweet Sounds of Heaven. Absolutely fantastic track. Oh, definitely the best track on the album now. I've changed my mind. I just love this. The one that I always sort of think is that the Muddy Waters Rolling Stone. It's a great track, but it doesn't fit on the album. Now I think that's why it was not my number 1 album of the year. But my number 1 album of the year goes to one of my favourite bands of all time. Their 25th album, it came out last January, and it's Chaos and Colour from the brilliant Uriah Heep. Okay, it's not the original band, there's only Mick Box, but Bernie Shaw's been with them a long time, Phil Lanson's been there a long time. This album still blows me away. Save Me Tonight feels great, rich Hammond organ. Bernie sounds as good as ever. Mick Box on the wah-wah, fantastic. Silver Sunlight, my god. Opening drum roll from Russell Gilbrook, it took over from Lee. Big Shoes to Follow, fantastic track. Then we get Hail for the Sunrise, brilliant stuff. Bassline, Davey Rimmer had to take over from the great Trevor Boulder. The people that are brought in to take over from legends are doing a fine job. Age of Changes, July Morning sort of start with that Hammond organ. Hurricane's brilliant. One Nation, One Sun, a ballad, a brilliant vocal from Bernie. Some nice piano work from Phil as ever. Golden Light, a lovely melodic track with rich Hammond organ again. Fine guitar solo from Mr. Box. You'll Never Be Alone, still my favourite track. It's got all them elements, the richness of the keyboards, the great vocals. I just think it reminds me so much of the Magician's Birthday in places. Fly Like an Eagle, the swirly keyboard of Phil. Wonderful, wonderful track. As I said at the time, every time Uriah Heep have released an album in the last few years, they have been brilliant. I I've never been disappointed, and I hope we get a new album from them very, very soon. I know next with that's the things, and there are some. I have got a few honourable mentions that just missed out. The first one being it came out in February. Rick Wakeman's English rock ensemble, A Gallery of the Imagination and Music. A wonderful album, a strong album from Rick. Just didn't make the cut this time round. Gordon Lightfoot left us with that live album recorded at the Royal Albert Hall. Absolutely majestic. One of the best live albums of the year. Wolfgang Van Halen's Mammoth 2 came out in August. Very good album, but not as, I don't think, as good as that first album. Ash came back as well with Race of the Night, another solid album. And we had a new album from King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard, The Silver Chords. More of an electro time this time. Some great stuff on it. Love the album, it just missed out. Okay, well that's 2023's albums. Looking forward to this year. We've already know we're getting new albums from a new album from Judas Priest. Is out. Magnum have got one coming out. I'm starting to look and see what's coming. So the other thing is, if you know there's albums coming out and you want me to review them, please let me know. If there's any new albums of your favourite bands, and we will give them a review. Okay, I'm having a day off tomorrow. I'm just going to have a chill out now. I've got a few things I want to do. But on Sunday, Sunday, it's that bit in the middle that you never forget. So New Year's Eve, we've got a very special thing. All the gaffs, when I record, I've put them all together in a little video. Will feature our Rocky. He's in it as well. So I'm putting that out on Sunday because I have recorded that. Well, you have to, don't you? You'll see when you watch it. So next time you will see me actually live will be on New Year's Day when we start the Rebound brand. So I will see you all in the new year. Bye for now.